írni nekik egy választ, és akkor újra megválaszolni.
As it is, the only way that they can break out of their quandary is to break the law by buying foreign exchange on the black market. And that's what's going on here. Money hustlers trading in foreign currencies. Corrupting, yes, but also serving a real function by promoting business efficiency. It should be legal, not illegal, done through private banks, not on the street. The government can promote the transition to a free market in two very different ways. One way is simply to get out of the way. Let dozens of Rubik cubes emerge from the ingenuity, enterprise, and drive of the Hungarian people. Another way is to try to plan the transition. That way, one thing is sure. The people who do the planning will make sure that they end up on the top and the little man is on the bottom. And here in Budapest, like everywhere in Eastern Europe, small enterprises are only too well aware of that reality. Every building in this street of shops is state-owned, but out of sight down the back alleys, there's a new and vibrant world of business growing. This place has nothing to do with the state. It's truly a free, uncontrolled market. The women earn 3 times as much as they could in the state clothing factories. They make fashion garments for the young. It's a fickle market that is always changing. Their job is to keep ahead of it, to innovate. The clothes are sold from market stalls and trade is thriving. 2 years ago, this place was a derelict building site. Now, taken together, all the stalls have the annual turnover of a good-sized department store, simply because the market has been allowed to develop without state interference. Imagine the effect if production all over Hungary, Poland, and Czechoslovakia were set free like this. Here's another real success story, this time in Czechoslovakia. Martin was a rock musician. Today he makes documentary films. Some years ago, he did a concert tour of the United States and brought back second-hand recording equipment. The communist government let him bring it back after paying a hefty import tax because he said he wanted to record folk music, something the government was not doing and did not plan to do. In the past year, since things have opened up, his business has exploded. Along with music and films, he now duplicates video cassettes. He also makes audio cassettes for other Czech producers and has devised his own English language course on tape.
Welcome to Learning English.
He's on his way, and many more will follow if the government just gets out of their way. You just can't keep good people like that down. The guests at this party aren't much interested in self-driving entrepreneurs like Martin. High-powered business executives from North America and West Europe, they're interested in bigger game. They are here to do business and make good profits for their firms. They'll do it by arranging joint ventures between their Western companies and government enterprises. To succeed, they have to get on the right side of the politicians and the bureaucrats who are in charge. It's large-scale lobbying, very much in the Western manner. The danger is that in the process, local government bureaucrats and big foreign business will end up freezing out local entrepreneurs.
The government to do.
Yeah, but Les is very aware of the fact that the government is worrying about selling out the country.
The assets of Hungary belong to the people of Hungary.
Right.
I do not believe they should be sold. You're a citizen of Hungary. Who owns the state enterprise?
Okay, the society as a whole.
Not the society, the people.
Well, that's
Well, give it to the people.
Yeah.
In finance ministries all over Eastern Europe, the talk is all about privatization. But rhetoric is one thing, action sometimes very different. One example is in Prague, where Václav Klaus, the finance minister, is desperately trying to free the Czech economy.
Are doing the same exactly. The people who were the reformers at that time were then, after the Russian invasion, they were fired from their jobs and they returned to politics with their own extremely obsolete ideas. And now they are trying.
But he's up against political interests that aren't ready to give up control. They're all anti-communists, all in favor of markets. But many are still beguiled by the idea of market socialism, a third way between capitalism and socialism. Klaus and I believe that is a mirage, that a third way will take Czechoslovakia straight to the third world. It must either move directly to a pure free market or it will get stuck, just as Yugoslavia has.
Out of touch is reality.
And I think intellectuals tend to underestimate the intelligence of the ordinary people. That's quite true. Poland and Hungary have exactly the same problem. Some, like Klaus, want to move to free markets right away. Others still hanker after socialist control of the markets.
Those who use the word naive citizens, they are the interventionist economists and the other. So this is my speech in the parliament half an hour ago. So for us it's everyday debate, discussion, exactly.
Political power is limited, but economic power is not limited. And you can have, if you have one millionaire, you can have another millionaire, you can have another millionaire, without anybody else being worse off. In fact, everybody else will be better off. And it seems to me, again, that the people understand that. I can't believe that your ordinary people here don't. They know. Overnight you can make a change if you only get the government off the back of the people. Where are we heading?
We're heading up, all the way up here.
Fine. We'll get there.
Let's not get any more gas than we need to.
What is it? It's about $1 a liter, which makes it about $4 a gallon of gas. In these countries, the hardest problem is to transform their heavy industries. This is Nowa Huta, a vast collection of steel mills in Poland, and a disaster in every sense. It's inefficient, costly, and above all, a major polluter. The best thing to do with places like this would be to bulldoze them, but that's almost impossible. They are too well shielded by special interests, the unions, the bureaucrats, and all the other political interests on the fringes. The communists socialized the means of production. They tried to run everything from the center. It didn't work. It was a mess and a failure. We in the United States, on the other hand, have been socializing the fruits of production. That is, the government has been taking money from some people, the people who produce the goods and services, and giving it to other people who do not produce goods and services. The end result is likely to be the same loss of incentive and organization if we carry it too far. That's one lesson we should learn from these countries. A year ago, the cornucopia of fruits and vegetables and other things in this street market were simply not obtainable. It's one of the first signs of the flowering of enterprise under the new regimes. This market is in Krakow, Poland. Look at what he's got, Rose. This is what yours. Goods are readily available now only because the government eliminated price controls, allowing the market to set the prices. Like a miracle, overnight the stalls had goods for sale. This gentleman sells bulbs and seeds. He's happy in the market. But many traders would like to set up in stores and develop on a larger scale. At the moment, they can't. The stores are all owned by the state. The traders are stymied unless and until the stores become private property. When they do, the market will get another boost. This youngster is 16, and he's still in high school. But this is Saturday, and he's in the market selling jeans from Thailand, making a little money for himself. He's studying to be a gardener, but when I asked him what he was going to do when he left school, he had no hesitation. He was going to be a businessman. There's the hope of Poland. Everybody knows what needs to be done. The property that's now in the hands of the state needs to be gotten into the hands of private people who can use it in accordance with their own interests and values. The problem is how to do it. Now that you've got some degree of political freedom, there's an awful fight going on about who's going to get what share of the total pie. Everybody wants a little bigger piece. It's a political minefield. But unless that minefield can be gotten through, the game is up. It will be a failure. If it can be gotten through, then you will have an opportunity for these resources to be used the right way for the right things. We in the West know only too well how hard it is to get the government out of something once they've been in it. And here in Poland, they've been in it for 50 years and in a much bigger way than the United States. So they got a real job on their hands. It would be silly of us on the basis of a brief trip to try to judge how successful these countries will be in doing what no country has yet been able to do, transform a totalitarian state into a prosperous, free society. If this experiment is successful, it will not only transform Eastern Europe, it will also offer an invaluable blueprint for the economic development of many poor countries. You know, nothing is more striking than the wide differences in the standard of life of people who live in different parts of the world. Why? Not because of race, or religion, or culture, or natural resources. After all, the Chinese who live in Hong Kong and in Taiwan are of the same race and background as those who live in Red China, yet their standards of living are vastly different. The same thing is true of East Germany and West Germany, of South Korea, North Korea, of Japan before the Meiji Restoration and Japan after the Meiji Restoration. The real explanation are the economic institutions that they adopt. Free private markets versus central planning. The countries of Eastern Europe have finally overthrown their communist masters who foisted central control on them. They have the rare opportunity to write on a clean slate, to create the institutions of private property and free markets that are the only ones that have ever achieved widespread prosperity and human freedom. We in the United States, on the basis of our experience of the last 10 years, know how hard it is to cut a government down to size. We hope they succeed better than we did. If they do, we will learn as much from them as they have learned from our example.